Here's part 2 of how I use polygel as an alternative to acrylic, including tips for retention. Starting off with nail prep, very important, push back the cuticle very gently. I also like to use a micro taper bit at a low speed and a fine grit sanding band. This is a 240 grit. Dehydrate with young nail swipe, and then I go ahead and size out my nail tips. It's important to make sure they fit comfortably from sidewall to sidewall without having to apply a ton of pressure. So prefer using a brush on glue when I glue on my tips. It makes the product much easier to control. Then go ahead and remove the shine from the nail tip and make sure everything is nice and flush. You want to make sure you have a seamless transition from the natural nail to the nail tip, going to make your application a lot easier. I dust off with alcohol and I apply my protein bond, which is my primer, to the natural nail. Let that air dry and then I apply a gel base coat. I like to apply it to the entire nail and I fully cure and do not remove the sticky layer. I'm going to be using 70% isopropyl alcohol as my slip solution and the polygel brush from my brand. For the 70% isopropyl alcohol, you want to make sure your brush is not oversaturated. I usually aim for something like this. A high quality polygel is also important. I'm going to be using Coquette blush from my brand. We have a bunch of neutral colors. I like to use the 2-bead method, especially for longer nails. It makes application a little less overwhelming. It's the first bead where the natural nail meets the nail tip, and then I'm focusing on working on top of the product, so I'm using light tapping and dragging motions. I fully cure and then I go in with my second bead. I like to make sure I don't place it too high up and below the cuticle area and then work the product up. Use the corners of my brush for the cuticle area. I use both an E-file and hand file when I shape. You can do any nail art over polygel. I would recommend using high quality products so that they last. I'm using the art gels from my brand and we're doing a French tip. It's my full routine. I hope this helps and you can shop our products through the link in my bio.